Yo, what's up, everybody? It is your boy Brandon, and guess what? The photography community is booming over the brand new Sony FX30. Amazing little cinema camera, all right? The baby brother of the Sony FX3. So, a lot of people have asked me my opinions about what is going on with the FX30. Am I going to be getting it? And a few other things. So, but before I get into a lot of that other stuff, I have to play devil's advocate, man. So today, I'm going to tell you guys my thoughts on my top 5 reasons on why you should not get the FX30. Let's go. Now, before we get into my opinions on why you should not get the FX30, I want you guys to know one thing. I will be coming out with a video subsequent to this that tells you my top 5 reasons why you should get the FX30. So do not hold me accountable for anything that I want to say right now. I am just giving my opinion and giving you guys a different connection or persona on why something that you might not be thinking about. But coming from somebody who shoots primarily Sony and somebody who has been shooting Sony for a very long time, from every APS-C camera to almost every full frame camera. I've shot with the 6000s and 61, 63, 64, 65. I played with the 66 and A72, 73, 74, you know, and A7Rs and A7Ss. When the FX30 came out, I was like, wow, that is an amazing camera. So let's get into my top 5 reasons why you should not get the FX30. Reason number 1 is probably the biggest reason of them all. It's called uniformity. All right. As a Sony content creator, one of the biggest things that I love about all of my Sony cameras is that they're pretty much all the same menu system, almost the same button layout, but I pretty much know where everything is. When I go do big jobs and weddings, and you know, if I'm bringing 2 or 3 cameras to a shoot, or if I'm doing some behind the scenes, I like to be able to go to this camera and play with it, boom, 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 set it. This camera, boom, boom, boom. This camera, boom, boom, boom. With my A7 IV, my A1, my A7S III. Like, if I'm using, these are all full frame cameras. If I'm using all 3 of these cameras, I can use all of these in 4K 60. The A7 IV, A7S III, the A1, I can set all those up the same exact way. Of course, a little bit of crop on the A7 IV, but the button layout and everything is pretty much the same. So I don't have to go to one and fondle, go to one and do something else, and then go to one and do something else. I know where everything is, every menu system, every button on all of them. This is also a reason why I don't really do other manufacturers. Like, I love Canon. As you guys know, if you follow my journey, I shot Canon for a very long time. But having like the R5 and the R3 and then trying to go to the A1 and this and then trying to go to a food, I'm not a really big fan of having multiple brands because I feel like it might slow down my workflow, especially if I want to program this camera. If I go to a job or if I have different people doing different things or holding different cameras and things like that, I want to be able to get to everything fast, quick, fast, in a hurry. With that being said, the FX30 is set up a little bit different than my A1, my A7 IV, my A7S III, my A7 III, my A7R4. It's definitely set up differently as a, you know, it's a cinema camera. The button layout is all different. You don't have the dial on the top. You don't have a lot of different things that I depend on when I'm shooting. My menu buttons in a particular place. The custom buttons are all in a particular place. Even going through the menu system, I know where pretty much everything is on every page. But it's not the same. And for somebody who shoots a long time, that I feel like that might slow down a lot of people's workflow. You know, especially if you do a lot of different jobs and everything and you want to go to these different cameras. Now, some of you might say, well, it's a video camera. You set it up one time and that's it. I mean, yeah, okay. You can argue that notion, but at the same time, again, if I'm setting things up, I want to be able to go to each one and I just want to flow. I don't want to have to fondle with it. I don't want to have to play with it and think like, dang, where was this set up and where is this? I want to be able to do it. Also, like the dial button on all of my cameras has a memory dial. The FX3 doesn't have memory recall like that. So I can go here, if my A1, if I want to set up 4K 60, dial. then dial, change dial. I know all of them are shooting 4K 24p. And if I want to shoot 4K 60, turn. All of them set up the same. You can't do that with the FX30, you know? And that's something that is important to me when I'm shooting. So again, uniformity is really, really important to make sure all of my things are the same. I mean, I would rather honestly get another A7S III than to get, you know, an FX30 or crop sensor camera. So that's my biggest thing. Again, to you, it might not be as important. You know, when we get new shiny things, we want to play with it all night. We want to, you know, we deal with it. You know, we want to make sure we know where everything is at. We want to set it up to how we want to. And we spend days, weeks, months, you know, playing with that new shiny little thing. But when you've been shooting Sony for years and you know the menu system like the back of your hand, is sometimes I might not play with the FX30 all the time. So my mind automatically tells me exactly where everything is. I'm accustomed to it. It's the same like with all my cameras. So getting the FX30 might kind of slow down your workflow. Reason number 2 why you should not get the FX30. Lens compatibility. So the FX30 costs $17.98, $21.99 if you want to get the top handle, of course, with the XLR inputs. A lot of us who shoot, especially portrait photographers, a lot of you guys already have full frame lenses. A lot of you guys, we all have a lot of full frame lenses. We don't really keep a lot of crop sensor lenses. Now, you might be one of those people right now watching this video where you pretty much only shoot APS-C because that might be in your price range and that might be all that you can afford. So you might have some APS-C lenses laying around. I have a few APS-C lenses. If you put full frame in APS-C, I'm not saying you can't put full frame lenses on an APS-C body. We all know that you can. You can put APS-C lenses on a full frame body. We all know that you can. But the full frame readout, you won't be able to achieve in any of those combinations. So if I take my full frame lenses and I put them on APS-C, it's going to crop in and I'm not going to get the full frame readout from the full frame lens on an APS-C body. It's going to crop it down. We all know that, right? If you take APS-C lenses and put them on a full frame body, you're not going to get the full frame readout of the full frame camera. It's going to crop in because it's APS-C. So either way you mix it up, you're not getting a full frame readout. And we know a lot of cinema cameras and cameras that have been made before, cinema cameras are really big with Super 35 or APS-C. Think about the additional money that you're going to have to spend with the FX30 because you're going to have to get APS-C lenses, especially if you don't own the right ones right now. So what are the right lenses to get with this APS-C camera? Well, if you plan on vlogging, especially if you plan on vlogging in 4K, it's the APS-C Super 35. So you're going to have to get at least a 15 millimeter, which some people might even think that that's too close. Because I think the 15 turns into like a 23, 24, something like that. So 12 millimeter, 11 millimeter. So I know we have an 11 millimeter, 1.8, 1.4, something like that. So you're going to have to get more APS-C lenses to do exactly what you want it to do. Now, will you be using this cinema camera to vlog? I don't know. Some people might use it for vlogging. Some people might just use it for cinema work, video work. I don't know. What I'm telling you is the price that you're going to pay for $17.98, you're probably going to have to add 2 more lenses because it's an APS-C camera and you might not own the right APS-C cameras to put there to do exactly what you want it to do. So if you want to vlog with it, you're going to have to get smaller APS-C lenses like 11s, 12s, 15s in order to turn it around and actually get what you wanted to get, unless you're just using it for cinema work. Or you want to have to get the zoom lenses, you know, 16 to 35 and 18 to 35 and other APS-C lenses that we have out there. When you start adding up the costs in order to get what you want to do, you might as well get a full frame camera. There's been a lot of comparisons between the A7 IV and the FX30. At the end of the day, I still like the A7 IV look. Because it's full frame, you get a sharper image, you get more light that hits the sensor, and it just looks better. I honestly got rid of all my APS-C cameras. I don't even own an APS-C lens. I got rid of my A6000, my 60, 63, 64, 60, and my 65. I never owned a 66, but I sold them all because it just looks better on a full frame camera. Even though the A7 IV does still have a small crop in 4K 60, you know, you have an even bigger crop on the Super 35. So when you add the cost from the camera to getting the lenses that you need, you honestly might as well get a full frame camera. 30 costs you $17.98. The A7 IV right now costs what? $2,400, $2,490. So let's just say, I'm not good with math. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So let's just say an extra $700 to get a full frame camera, because most of y'all already own full frame lenses anyway, right? So to get the FX30 and then add about 1 or 2 more lenses, you're already going to be at that $700 extra mark already. You might as well just get a full frame camera at that point. That's my opinion. So lens compatibility is something that you have to look out for, because those extra lenses is going to put you right in the price range of just getting a full frame camera. The third reason why I believe you should not get the FX30, APS-C versus full frame. I think I told you in the last thing, I sold all my APS-C cameras. History has shown that over time, the value of APS-C cameras diminish. If you take now, the FX30 is a different beast because it's a cinema camera, so it might not pretty much ever lose really its value. But you take all the APS-C cameras that we have in Sony, you take the 6000, the 61, the 63, 64, 65, you got all these APS-C cameras. You can find these cameras pretty much for pennies on the dollar now. You can get the 6000 for probably like $200, $200-$300. You can get the A63 for about $400. You can get the A64 for about $500-$600 because it's still a really good camera. You can get the A65. I just saw the A6500 on eBay or OfferUp for like $500 and it is an amazing camera. It has the weight, it has IBIS, it has everything. A6600 is still holding its value a little bit. It is the newest APS-C camera that Sony has, you know, IBIS and everything with it. So you still can find that for about $1,200-$1,300. It still hasn't really came down that much. I'm not going to say that the value of the FX30 over time will diminish just like the rest of the APS-C cameras that we have. But what I am saying is, like, the resale value and anything that you want to do with it is greater with full frame cameras than it is with APS-C cameras. Over time, we're going to get more new shiny little things. Like I said, APS-C versus full frame, you know, full frame, you get an amazing image. You get a much bigger sensor, full frame readout, more light, sharper image, a lot of different things. My number 4th reason why I don't think you really need the FX30. Do you really need it? Or are you just having a bad case of gas?
It's the mind-boggling, eye-popping, all new.
You want to ask yourself that. Do you actually even really need it? Or are you just having a bad case of acquisition syndrome? If you already have the A7 IV, a lot of the A7 IV is not our main video camera. It's a hybrid camera. It does what it does very, very well, and that is video and portraits at 33.5 megapixel sensor. It does things very, very well. The A7S III full frame, native 4K, not oversampled. It's amazing when it comes to video. But we're still trying to find a way to add this FX30 in there somewhere and spend the $1,800, put it on a credit card, and do what we do. And it's like, do I really need? Well, it really depends on your job, and it really depends on what you're going to use it for. Because if you already have the cameras to achieve what you want to achieve, where does it fit in your daily life? When you already have full frame cameras and other cameras that do basically what It does. Here's my thing. If you already have an A7 IV with no other backups and you mainly use it for video, then I mean, yeah, it'll be a great A cam or B cam. It can be used as both, honestly. Great A cam or great B cam. If you have crop sensor cameras already and you want to add another crop sensor camera or a better crop sensor or a more video oriented camera, then the FX30 might work for you. But it's like, do you actually really need it if you already have all these other things, or you just want to add it to your arsenal? Can it be used for something else? Maybe you just want to put it in your studio and leave it there instead of taking it out of your studio, putting it on the gimbal, taking it out on location, and doing the same thing back and forth because that's your main video camera. Maybe you just want to leave it there and always have it set up and never have to touch it again when you do talking heads like this. So you gotta ask yourself, do you actually really need it? For most people, they really don't need it. Most of us who are watching these videos right now and who have looked at the last 500 videos that are telling you the same exact thing about the FX30, everything that you already have seen, you've already seen. You can't look at anything else that's going to tell you any different. But it's like, do you actually need it? Think about that. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody else's word for it. We're here to give you as much information as we can about things that come out. That's what we do. But at the end of the day, you have to really look at your own situation, your own finances, your own everything, and make a conscious decision. How is this going to help you? What are the benefits from having it? Is it going to be something that's just going to sit around and not really get the use out of it? Or is it something that you're going to use every day? Is this a big upgrade for you? If you don't need it, don't buy it. Even if you get it and it's this cinema camera and everybody's telling you how good it is, if you don't have the skill set, if you don't have the knowledge, and if you don't understand exactly what you need to do and how to basically use this thing to the maximum ability as far as, you know, getting the shot, understanding your LUTs, understanding, you know, just basic lighting and stuff, then it's not gonna matter what camera you use. Your stuff is still gonna look the same as the rest of the stuff you shoot. All right, which brings me to my fifth and final reason why I don't think you should get the FX30. Now, this last one is a bit of a toss-up, you know, but I had to throw it in there because it's really hard to find reasons, honestly, not to get it, because it's absolutely amazing camera, you know, on paper. I would say, hold on to your money, you know. It might be more beneficial to stack up and save and hold on to your money than to just dive into the first thing that they throw at you. You know, especially, and this is mainly for this is talking to people who are not really, you know, who either don't have a full frame or thinking about getting their first video camera or thinking about getting into cinematography or videography or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of things in the works. Rumor mills. I can't tell you exactly when that stuff is coming, when it's going to drop and all of that stuff, but it's great to have this, you know, Super 35 APS-C camera for $1,798. But from shooting a lot of APS-C cameras and shooting a ton of full frame cameras, I love how sharp and how much more light and everything the full frame offers me. I'm not saying that APS-C is wrong. I mean, they make cameras so close together. I mean, a lot of times you can't even tell the difference in APS-C and full frame anymore, unless you're doing a lot of different things and adding light and, you know, just so many other things. And again, lens compatibility is a big part of that. But you might want to just save your money. I would just say wait and save up. That's my best fifth reason I can give you on why you might not want to jump to the FX30 so quickly. So hopefully, you know, I shedded a little light on some things. Hopefully this helps some people to, you know, give you just a different perspective, you know, from a Sony shooter on what some things are going on. So coming out with another video soon. This is going to be my top 5 reasons why I think you should get the FX30. You're not going to want to miss that. It's going to drop in a few days. Until next, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Until my next videos and more videos to come. This is your boy signing off. Oh, by the way, make sure y'all go get that blackdish, www.blackdish.com. We're doing some great work on that. And I had to make sure I throw that little plug in there for my own company. I mean, what would I do if I couldn't throw a plug in there for my own company? They see the work. Y'all see what we doing. Y'all see the work. Don't act like you don't see it. But anyway, yo, I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for my next video on my top 5 reasons to get the FX30. And we gonna be out. I holla. Peace out.